Hello, my strange friends. You've tuned into 315TV, and today we are talking about films. Not just any type of films, no. These are the top 5 films that had theaters losing their minds. We're going to start the list off with the most popular of the 5, and that is The Exorcist. I remember the very first time I saw the face of Linda Blair's portrayal of Regan. It was right after I was convinced as a child to play the scary maze game. That face was burned right into the backside of my eyelids. It had haunted me for several years after. The great thing about that situation was the fact that I got to experience this from the comfort of my own home. But imagine being in a theater full of strangers, surrounded by darkness and the delicious smell of popcorn. That's what these people who visited the screenings had to go through. When the viewer had reached the point in the film where Regan's head spins all the way around, there are reports of people fleeing in absolute horror. Even after the movie ended, there was a priest in the audience claiming that he had never seen anything like it in his life. An interesting part of all this is that there is footage online from the 70s showing the lines of people and their reactions after. Our second film that we have to talk about is a cult classic, The Blair Witch Project. This was released in the very late 90s, where the found footage style of filming was not very popular. This technique, and the internet being a new rising tool, allowed the directors to simulate a sense of authenticity to the film by posting online Easter eggs that viewers could dig up before the screenings. People in the audience were convinced that what they just watched was the real murder of an amateur documenting group. On top of that, some of the viewers grew sick from the constant moving and shaking of the film's camera and had to leave the show early. There were even reports of the actors' family members sending condolences because of the confusion of their recorded on-screen deaths. But I mean, they did post an imitated obituary online of the lead actress, so I could see how people would mix that up. For the third entry, we have Raw. The name is only the beginning, as this movie is a coming-of-age story about a girl who is starting her education in a veterinary school. Sounds pretty normal, right? Well, the thing is, she learns that she has cannibalistic tendencies and begins to consume raw meats and other nasty items. Do you think you could sit through that while scarfing down a slice of pizza and some Diet Coke? Well, the audience surely couldn't handle it. This movie had several members of the audience gagging, and during an early film festival screening, barf bags were handed out to everyone as they walked in. The director even said that when she took her friend to a showing in Paris, she passed out from shock at the sight of it all. Such a dedicated friend. We're almost to the end, but before I talk about the last movie on this list there's one more that is very controversial. It's a French film called Irreversible. The film starts out as your standard drama action, but there are 2 reasons why this film made the audience unable to sit through it. The first one is the several uncut minutes of a rape scene that made most people uncomfortable to the point of leaving the theater. Most of the film was made to show long cuts of different scenes, and the rape scene in this movie was not shy of that aspect. The director also decided that it would be a good idea to play a subsonic hum throughout the film to bring nausea to the viewers that only a theater's audio system could inflict. The director also goes on about how he thinks this film will hold the record for the most people to walk out on a movie. Hopefully no one tries to compete for such a feat. Now that we've gone through quite some films, we get to the 5th and final movie that was so unbelievably controversial. It had people absolutely upset and offended. That movie is the 1930s Freaks by director Todd Browning. This movie was released in theaters February 12th of the year 1932, and it had some heavy criticism on its debut. When they were screening this film, some of the audience were offended by the scenes they were witnessing, and others were upset at the exploitation of a disabled persons. Most people who went to watch the film were angrily leaving their seats and demanded that they be refunded. The imagery was considered to be so disturbing and frightening that there is a report of a pregnant woman who was put into such a state of shock and fear that she had a miscarriage and tried suing the theater. The early reviews of the film made Todd Browning worried that this may be his last movie he directs, but in the 60s, the movie gained some newfound positivity, and now today is considered a staple in the genre of horror. There, you have it. These are the top 5 of several movies that gained such crazy reactions from the moviegoers. Thank you for watching, and I hope you don't find yourself face first into a barf bag on your next showing.